two go hand in hand.
Okay.
So you can, let's make up a company. We're going to call it Susan's Cookies, right? And Susan has this cookie company, and she has the most delicious cookies, and she has all the beautiful imagery, and like all these beautiful pictures of cookies, and they taste delicious, and you go into her store and it looks beautiful. So she has this beautiful brand image of these delectable cookies that taste amazing, and you walk into her store and it looks so beautiful. But then you go into Susie's store, and even though you have all of those elements, the girl behind the counter always treats Susie's customers like, they're the scum of the earth, and they're spending all their money. Or even outside of Susie's company, Susie is treating the people that she works with ill manners and disrespectful. Or it's and so that's the so now that's the reputation. Like, yes, the brand of the company is these beautiful, delectable cookies, but they treat people horrible. That's the reputation. So it's like you got to have both. You can't just have the beautiful image and treat people nice. You have to have both. Let's flip it. Let's say Susie is the most kind and loving person in the world, and and she gives her last dollar she could and gets the shirt off her back, and everyone that she talks to just has a wonderful experience every time they talk to her. But then you walk into her cookie store, and it could be a little cleaner, it's a little dated looking. Cookies are okay, but Susie's really, really nice. You know, you'll support Susie a little bit because she's cool, but I mean, if you don't really like going into her store and the cookies don't taste that great, I mean, it's only going to take you so far. So then that's also imbalance. So the two go together. True. Good service always equates to your brand. In fact, I always say that how you treat your clients and your customers is your public relations strategy number one. Good service always equates to your brand. In fact, I always say that how you treat your clients and your customers is your public relations strategy number one. Like, before you do anything, how do you treat the people who engage with your business? And that doesn't even just include the people that you sell to, but the vendors that you're working with. Like, how they feel is public relations strategy number one. Because even if you created this great branding and this great messaging, if people walk away from working with you not feeling great, that's going to get around. People do business, word of mouth is actually a really great marketing tool. And it's something, and that's also how, public relations plays into the role. So if you go somewhere and you're like, oh my gosh, I went into the store and the sales clerk was super mean to me, and she was just so rude, and I would never go there again. And then you tell all your friends that, and they're like, oh my gosh, I don't want that experience. So now everyone in my circle isn't going to the store because they feel rude. So then now that I told them that, then they're going to go back and tell their friends, like, yeah, my friend Vanessa, she went into that store and she said the sales clerk was super rude to her and they did this and this and this. So yeah, you shouldn't go. So then that starts to trickle down, and then it's like, oh yes, now they have this thing. So how you treat people does affect your brand. Sometimes it has to be our due diligence as the business owner, the entrepreneur, or the brand establisher to reach out to the repeat customers and those that do well to get the testimonies. Like, hey, you come in here often. Do you mind if I get you to, you know, do the questionnaire for me? Like, I remember it was a spa that I used to go to, and before I checked out, they was like, can you please do a We Up review? So yes, people like are inclined to give bad reviews, but I think that it's also our responsibility to encourage people to go and to give the good testimonies. Because what happens is when you're so mad, it's like you're so mad you want to let everyone know. And when you're good, I mean, I don't think people don't tell it because they're feeling good, but it's like you feel so good that their energy is just so on cloud now that you're giving them the space to proceed with their day. When you make someone upset, it's disturbing their energy and their peace. And because it's disturbed, now they have to like vent about it somewhere. So I think it's our responsibility that if we do want those good reviews, to just keep encouraging them and tell them why. Because if people really do like you and like doing business with you, they'll be willing to do it. When you create your brand, one thing that you also need to take into consideration is, who are you targeting? What is your audience? And so often people don't really take that into consideration. And what frustrates me so much is that when I ask, who is your audience? And they want to say everybody. And that is the absolute wrong answer. You should never target everyone. Even major brands target a specific audience at specific times. And it may have grown into, a mass audience over time, but initially most of the time they start with a niche and then they expand. Like, I don't know if anyone has seen The Last Dance with Michael Jordan, but before Michael Jordan developed his partnership with Nike, I think Nike was solely a track shoe. It didn't have the notoriety that it does now. And by the developing the partnership with Michael Jordan, then they thus expanded their brand into including basketball. But that's not what they were known for. Nike was known as a track shoe or a tennis shoe or something like that. It was a very narrow segment. And over time, they eventually opened up. And that's the thing, as a brand, especially when you're starting off, narrow, make it as narrow as possible and tackle that narrow audience as much as you can, and then expand by trying to, because the thing is, by trying to be for everyone, you will fail immediately. If that's what you're trying to do out the gate, you need to have an audience, and you have to be okay knowing that what you're doing is not for everyone. I had to learn that, like, as a PR person and becoming an independent, there were people that didn't want to work with me, and I had to take that not offensively, because I'm not for everyone. And by acknowledging that you're not for everyone, that frees up your plate to service those that you are there for. Because also, by trying to be for everyone is very exhausting, especially at the beginning stages of a business and you're a small staff and you have a limited budget. You need to focus on who you want to focus on and keep it at that. And if you try to focus on everyone, it's going to drain you. So focus on the people who are for you, and be okay with knowing that what you offer is not for everyone. And just because what you offer is not for everyone doesn't mean it's something wrong with you or what you're doing. You just have a certain audience. How to begin to create your brand? That's a funny question, because the answer that I have for that question is different today than it would have been 5 years ago. And the answer that I have today is not a very business textbook answer. Right now, I'm personally taking a business workshop. It's called, with a program called Beyond Blind Spots with Karen Pettigrew. And even in the essence of this workshop, through this workshop, it's redefine how I even look at my brand, which is why I'm rebranding. And I recommend this approach to everyone. So this isn't mine, and I'm pretty sure other people do it too, but this is where I'm doing it. But the essence of your brand should include you. Who are you? What is your purpose? What gives you value? Why are you doing those things? Start with the why. I would say that start with, why do you want to do this? Why do you want to do this? Then ask, by you doing this, what is the problem or challenge in the world that you would like to accomplish by doing what you're offering? And it doesn't have to be life-saving. It could be something as simple as, I want to create a line of natural beauty products so women can, have products that are environmentally friendly while also, indulging in self-care. And actually I have a friend who does something very similar, which is why I got that. But it doesn't have to be like I want to save the world, but it's like, why are you doing this and what do you hope to accomplish by doing this? That's what you need to know first. Don't forget, like, okay, and I will say that even when I started my business, I didn't do that. I had the colors, like everyone says, like, okay, what are the colors? What do you want to call it? And not to say that that's not important, but I say get to the heart of that first. Why are you doing what you're doing, and what is the need in the world that you want to accomplish by doing that? Understand that first. And I think by once you understanding that first, then the other things will start to come. Then understand who's the audience you want to serve. So then it's like knowing, so if it's like, okay, this is what I want to do, this is where I want to serve, this is the audience I want to give this to. Then by knowing that, you can create what that, you can start to mold what that brand looks like. And once you have a foundation of knowing that, then you can then you can plug in, the things that you read online about colors and, logo and what you want to call your business, things like that. But at the end of the day, it should be you. It should have an infusion of who you are and the essence of you. And I think that's not taught in a lot of business courses or workshops and things like that. It's it's very cold and icy, and forgive me for saying this for those who, it's very corporate. And it has no personality to it. And the business starts with your personality. Like, if you don't know what personality give your business, start with who you are. If you don't know who your target audience is, your target audience is probably you. So start with who you are is the best thing I can tell you to do. And the successful entrepreneurs are the ones who failed over and over and over again and have learned to persevere. They learn from their mistakes, get back up, do it again, and persevere. It's not about getting it right the first time. You're when you start your business, when you start your brand, you're going to get it wrong. Let's just call that out right now. You're going to get it wrong. And I think that's the thing. Like, you think that you're going to get into this and it's going to be perfect the first time you go around. And people think that when it's not perfect the first, maybe even the first 3 times, and they think because it's not perfect the first 2-3 times around that they're doing something wrong. And that's not accurate. Actually, you have to have those experiences of falling and getting back up again so you can see what it is going. So that's another thing about the brand, is just allow yourself to fail, because those failures help you identify what your brand looks like right now. The reason why my brand is going to be different now than it was 5 years ago is because I've gone through so much, whereas like now I know how to hone it in a little bit more. I didn't know that then because I was just starting. I developed the brand that I knew that was best for me at that moment. And now I'm at the point where it's now to redefine that. You have to give yourself room to fail. And just because you fail doesn't mean it's the end of the world. It means you get back up and you try again. We talked about reputations and your brand. You can have a bad reputation and a bad brand. You can correct that. That's not the end of the world. Just because you had a moment where you were doing bad and you, like Susie who had the cookie shop that looked beautiful but had bad customer service, she can recover. It is not the end of her business. She just needs to recognize, like, okay, I can't treat people like crap anymore. Let me get myself together and let's be more kind and more affectionate and more endearing to other people. She can recover. I mean, it may take a moment. Some people may take longer than others, but you can recover from your failures. And so this idea of never failing and being perfect all the time is insane. And if you don't get anything else right, just know that everything is recoverable.